You think business is about numbers, about who has the loudest voice or the biggest office? Wrong. Business is war, and in war, emotion gets you killed. Today, we're diving into the cold, calculated rules of Thomas Shelby, the ones that built an empire and left rivals bleeding in silence. Most men lose because they can't shut up. They explain too much, feel too much, react too fast. But Thomas Shelby? He wins without raising his voice. Want to know how? Let me show you what makes a man truly dangerous in business. The world doesn't belong to the man who feels everything. It belongs to the man who controls what he shows, and more importantly, what he doesn't. I've sat in meetings where fortunes hung by a thread, deals worth millions, reputations on the line, knives hidden behind every smile. And I didn't flinch. I didn't blink, because emotion in business is suicide. Let me teach you something. The man who reacts first loses. The man who explains himself reveals too much. And the man who seeks validation ends up begging for crumbs. I never begged. I listened. I watched. I waited. The first rule in business? Never let them see your heartbeat. When I walk into a room, I don't need to announce myself. The silence does it for me. Because power isn't about volume, it's about presence. You think clients care about your passion? They care about your control. They want to shake hands with the man who never panics, the one who stays cold while others melt. There was a time a competitor tried to undercut me, lowered his prices, spread lies, turned my own men against me. He thought I'd explode, but I didn't. I sent him a bottle of whiskey and a letter that simply read, "You move too loud, I move too well." 3 months later, his company folded. No yelling, no threats, just silence, strategy, precision. That's the second rule. Never fight on their terms. If they scream, whisper. If they rush, wait. If they bluff, smile. You don't win by matching emotion. You win by manipulating it. Let them think you're weak. Let them believe you're naive. Then, when they lean in too close, you strike with a move they never saw coming. I don't sell products. I sell control. Control over fear, over chaos, over every room I walk into. You ever seen a man lose everything in business? It's not because he didn't work hard. It's because he trusted the wrong feeling. Greed, excitement, ego. He got too high on potential and forgot the cost of failure. I never forget. Rule number 3, keep your face as still as your hands, because your face betrays what your lips don't say. One twitch, one raise of an eyebrow, and the wolves smell blood. I've learned to make my face a fortress. You can insult me, undercut me, threaten me, and I'll still light a cigarette, adjust my cufflinks, and ask if you'd like another drink, because that's what rattles them. Not the shouting, not the fists, but the man who doesn't break, even when he should. You want to know how empires are built? Not with feelings, with discipline. Do you think I feel like showing up every day? Do you think I wake up excited, motivated? No. I wake up because my name depends on it, because legacy doesn't wait for your emotions to catch up. It only rewards the man who shows up, no matter how he feels. That's the fourth rule. Discipline before desire. Feelings are temporary. Structure is permanent. You'll never build anything great if you're waiting for the perfect mood. There's a cost to being this focused. You lose some softness, some joy, some comfort. But in return, you gain clarity. While others are distracted,
you're planning. While they chase attention, you build leverage. While they celebrate small wins, you're moving silently towards dominance. Business isn't about being liked, it's about being unshakable. And you can't be unshakable if your mind is ruled by mood swings. They used to say I was cold, unfeeling, heartless. But now, they call me CEO. They call me empire. They call me boss. Because I chose control over chaos, silence over noise, strategy over reaction. And if you want to win like I did, you'll need to do the same. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy, right now. Because they're watching, and the moment you blink, you've already lost the deal. Now, are you ready for that kind of pressure? Are you ready to trade comfort for command? Then stop waiting for permission. Start acting like you already own the room. Say nothing. Move with precision. And when the moment is right, make them regret ever underestimating you.
You want to know what separates the powerful from the forgotten? It's not connections. It's not luck. It's restraint. Most men lose in business because they don't know how to wait. They can't sit in a room and say nothing. They can't let silence hang heavy without breaking it with a nervous laugh or a desperate pitch. They can't handle not being seen, not being praised, not being validated. So they talk too much. They show their cards. They beg without realizing they're begging. But not me. I built my fortune in the quiet, in the tension between words, in the looks exchanged across a boardroom table where every blink is a risk. You see, the fifth rule is simple. Let them underestimate you. You don't need to dominate every moment. Sometimes power lies in letting them think they've won, just long enough to forget that you haven't even started playing. I've closed deals with a nod, destroyed rivals with a pause, because when you move like a storm waiting to happen, they prepare for rain, but they're never ready for thunder. I remember once, a group of investors tried to buy me out, thought I was desperate, offered a fraction of what the business was worth. They smiled, laughed, said I wouldn't survive without them. I took the contract, stared at it, then tore it clean down the middle. I didn't raise my voice, didn't curse, just stood up, lit my cigarette, and said, "You've just made the biggest mistake of your career." Then I left. 2 months later, they were calling me, begging to renegotiate. The price had doubled. I never even picked up the phone. That's power. The kind built in silence. The kind earned by patience. Because if you chase everything, you lose everything. But if you wait, if you watch, if you strike when the moment is right, you take everything. Rule 6. Protect your name more than your profit. Reputation. It's the only currency that never loses value. A man who's known to keep his word, feared. A man who's known to stay calm, respected. A man who never reacts emotionally, unbreakable. They'll test you every day. A late payment, a betrayal, a rumor designed to provoke you. Don't take the bait, because the moment you react, you become part of their game. And I never play someone else's game. I flip the board. There was a time one of my own tried to double-cross me. A man I trusted, a man who smiled in my face and stole behind my back. Everyone expected blood, expected violence, but I didn't even raise an eyebrow.
I poured him a drink, sat him down, let him confess with his own fear. Then I thanked him for showing me who he really was. And just like that, he was gone. Not with noise, but with finality. Because the seventh rule, when it's time to cut clean. No revenge fantasies, no emotional speeches, just remove the threat, silently, completely. The strongest businesses are not the ones that grow fast. They're the ones that survive betrayal without blinking. And you'll face betrayal. Make peace with that now. People will smile while they scheme, shake your hand while they plan your downfall. But if your emotions are in check, they won't even see the moment you saw through them. Control is a shield, not just for you, for your empire. Because when your team sees you handle chaos without flinching, they stop doubting. They start following. Leadership isn't barking orders. It's being the calmest man in the room when the ship starts sinking. When the market crashes, you don't panic. You plan. When competitors attack, you don't shout back. You adapt. When your team loses hope, you light a fire in silence, and you keep walking. That's what makes you Thomas Shelby. Not the suit, not the swagger, the discipline, the stillness, the refusal to be ruled by anything but strategy. Rule 8. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. There will always be deals too messy, clients too emotional, opportunities that glitter, but reek of chaos. Let them go. The man who chases every shiny object ends up exhausted and empty. I've walked away from million-pound contracts. Why? Because the moment I saw instability in their eyes, I knew it wasn't worth the cost of control. And I never gamble with control. Because the man who's desperate to win will always lose to the one who doesn't need to. That's the edge. The man who can walk away wins twice. So tell me, can you walk away? Can you sit in silence while the world mocks you? Can you delay gratification while everyone else is gorging on shortcuts? If you can, then you're not just in business. You're building a legacy.
You want to know why most businesses crumble? It's not because the plan was weak. It's because the man behind it was. They had vision, yes. Ambition, sure. But the moment the pressure mounted, they cracked. Because when emotion drives the ship, the storm always wins. That's why the final rule is the hardest, the one most men avoid. Kill the noise. The noise of doubt, the noise of opinions, the noise of your own insecure mind whispering you're not enough. I've sat across tables from men who called themselves leaders, yet every decision they made was based on fear. Fear of losing, fear of missing out, fear of not being liked. They traded clarity for chaos, speed for silence, and they paid the price. But me? I move without noise, without crowds, without applause. Because real power doesn't need to be seen, it just needs to be felt. When I walk into a room, I already know who's afraid of me and who should be. Not because I speak loudly, but because I don't have to. That's the thing about business. It's not a game of money, it's a game of psychology. And when you learn to read people better than they read themselves, you win before the negotiation even begins. You want leverage? Learn to hear what isn't said. Watch the flicker in their eyes, the hesitation in their voice, the sweat on their palms. Because behind every confident pitch, is a man hoping you don't see his weakness, and behind every aggressive offer is someone terrified of losing control. But you don't flinch. You let them speak. Let them spin their story. Let them think they've got you right where they want you. And when the moment comes, you say one sentence that turns the entire table. That's business. Not emotion, not reaction, precision. I once sat in a meeting with 5 executives who wanted to partner with me. Big names, big money. But something in their tone was off, too eager, too forced. They were hiding something. So I waited. I let the silence thicken. I watched their confidence decay, and just before they thought I was going to fold, I stood up, straightened my coat, and said, "You're not here because I need you. You're here because you're running out of time." They didn't say a word, didn't even breathe, because deep down, they knew I was right. Rule 10: own your time, or someone else will. Most men chase meetings, chase deals, chase everything, and in doing so, they lose themselves. But me? I protect my time like I protect my name, with quiet fury. You want to meet with me? You better bring value. You want to do business with me? You better bring clarity, because I don't chase, I attract, and I don't explain, I execute. You ever wonder why some men always seem ahead, like they're playing a different game? It's because they are. While others react, they anticipate. While others fear silence, they weaponize it. And while others beg for deals, they walk away with empires. That's what it means to be calculated, to be unmoved, to be the man they can't figure out, and therefore can't control. So here's your final test. Can you be silent when every part of you wants to speak? Can you be still when the room is spinning? Can you stay cold when the world burns? Because business isn't about who starts the loudest. It's about who finishes without ever raising his voice. You want to build something timeless? Then master the one thing no one can teach: emotional silence. Not indifference, not numbness, but discipline. The kind that lets you stand alone while others chase the crowd. The kind that keeps you focused while others celebrate too soon. The kind that makes your presence feel like pressure even when you haven't said a word. They won't understand you. They'll call you ruthless, cold, distant. Let them. Because in 5 years, when they're exhausted, broke, and forgotten, you'll be exactly where you plan to be. Not by accident, not by luck, but by silence, strategy, and self-control. So the next time you feel the urge to react, don't. The next time someone tries to get a rise out of you, smile. And when they ask how you got so far ahead, just nod. Because the real secret, you never played their game. You mastered your own. Now, if you found strength in these words, if you felt something shift in you, then don't waste it. Hit that like button. Share this with the one friend still ruled by emotion. And subscribe, because we're just getting started. Remember this: emotion is noise, discipline is dominance, and silence is power.